Hey everybody, what's up? This is HD, and welcome back to another StarCraft 2 game. I'm broadcasting you guys a special one today because this is going to be direct from MLG, which as you guys all know stands for Major League Gaming, and this is going to be a set between Quantic IM's MVP and OgSSK's MC. Man, those names, I just realized those names are getting longer and longer and longer. So there's actually a little bit of backdrop information for you guys here that I'm going to let you guys know. Quantic IM, first of all, is not Quantic IM anymore. They actually disbanded, and now they're just two separate teams. And I'm not too sure why they disbanded. I didn't read up about it too much. I just saw the headlines a few weeks ago. So Quantic and IM are no longer together. And first of all, for you guys who may or may not know, Quantic and IM and OGS and SK and Liquid, and I guess Liquid and OGS doesn't count, but there's so many teams from North America, essentially, that are joining up with teams from Korea so that these Korean players that play so well in the GSL, that are known worldwide for their efforts in Korea, can start to come out to North American events like MLG, like IPL. And so that's the reason why a lot of teams now from Korea are starting to join up with teams from North America, from the foreign land, essentially. So OGS and SK signed on. Actually, SK only signed on 2 players, and I know that one of them was MC. The other player I don't exactly recall, so I do apologize for that. But MC is essentially represented by OGS and SK. And all that technical jargon aside, Quantic signed on some players from IM, but then they disbanded. But for the purposes of this set that I'm casting for you guys, basically it's MC versus MVP from MLG. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing for you guys, and I know there's a lot of backdrop story between these two players and why their names are so complicated and long now. But yes, I will be casting this best of 3. I thought I'd go ahead and pull up some player stats for you guys because these are pretty relevant now that the scene has been established for so long. Basically, we have MC here. Excuse me, we actually have MVP, who has a Terran versus Protoss win rate of 61%, and it's actually his worst matchup. His best matchup is actually versus other Terrans, and that's an astonishing 73%. So MVP, the blue Terran at the top here, known more for his TVT than his TVP, but he's still well considered to be one of the best, if not the best player in the world, and definitely the best Terran in the world. So that's his stats, and as far as MC goes from OgSSK, his versus Terran is 59%. It's his second best matchup, and it's in between his versus Zerg, which is his worst, and his Protoss is actually 75%, but that doesn't matter. So MC, the red Protoss down here, he has got a pretty good win rate against Terran. It's 59%. And we'll see how this goes. So it's a 59%er for our Protoss player MC, and for MVP, it's going to be a 61%. Pretty even, I think, for both these players. They're both hovering about 60% win rates against their respective races. So that's that. a lot of information, a lot of stuff to absorb here, and a lot of backdrop. But I figure it's pretty important for you guys to know these things because, well, first of all, the first couple of minutes of a game usually aren't that crazy. Usually both players are just kind of building up and getting their stuff in order, and it gives you guys a little bit more backdrop. And I think this will be a pretty good set. So this is from MLG, like I said before. I'm not entirely sure where in the tournament it was. Obviously it was in the championship bracket because neither of these players were competing in the open bracket. But I'm pretty sure this is from MLG Providence, and at least the championship bracket could have been all the way into, you know, the semifinal, not the semifinals, but could have been all the way up into some of the top upper level brackets from the round of 8 onwards. And I'm sure somebody in my comments down below will kind of correct for you guys to know. So anyways, this is going to be a pretty good game. Obviously, MC and MVP are top players. MC recently making a resurgence in the StarCraft 2 scene. He recently took 2nd place at the MLG prior to this one, only losing out to Huck, and that was at MLG Orlando. Anyways, it looks like MVP opened up with 2 barracks here, and pretty interesting stuff here. This is something that Select likes to do a lot, just kind of 2 barracks pressure. Already has conch shells done, and he could certainly make a push happen here. Now, he hasn't thrown down a command center yet. In fact, he's just throwing down another factory right now. So all 1 basing, and MC is actually going for an expansion. Now, MC is going to have to hold on this early aggression, and MVP obviously looking to do some damage here. He will go forward, but without Stim, it's going to be very hard to fight this. He does have concussive shells, mind you, and he's doing some pretty good damage to these enemy Stalkers. He doesn't focus down the Stalker that was in the red. He could have killed that off way sooner. But I think with the reinforcements that MVP's caught coming, and the lack of reinforcements from MC's side, MVP is actually going to roll through this little contingency here, and then make his way even closer into the Protoss Natural, but more reinforcements finally arriving for MC. I was kind of thinking right there for a second, is MC going to warp in anything at all? And he finally does. In fact, not even bothering to make an Immortal right away, rather than getting the standard Observer. A lot of Protoss players will kind of succumb to that pressure that MVP provided and think, oh god, I've got to make an Immortal right now, forget the Observer. But MC, you know, he's on top of it. He knows that scouting is so much more important, and he knew that his reinforcements would arrive in a timely fashion for him to hold off that aggression. And speaking of aggression, it does look like we have MVP opening up with what seems to be a 1-1-1 style here. Although he did kind of have a bit of a slight tweak, a slight variation to it, because he got the upgrades on his tech lab. He got concussive shells, and now he's getting Stim Pack. And he's actually floating the factory array, so it's not exactly a 1-1-1. It's more of like a mass bio with quick medevacs. This is a very interesting build from MVP. So we'll see what MC does to deal with this. Obviously, if MVP's been cooking up this build on the Korean servers for some time now, it's probably well known enough that MC knows how to deal with it, because these two players obviously are both from Korea. And MC actually getting a Warp Prism here, guys. Very, very unique play from both these players. You know, this is really cool, because this is showing the evolution of StarCraft 2 to this current day and form. Players are no longer really using that kind of ball versus ball mechanic. It's starting to come down a lot more to varying your play style, getting units that your opponent wouldn't really expect, and really coming down to a lot more micro-intensive plays. And this is where MC and MVP, both former Brood War pros, are really, really going to shine. I'm very excited to see how, you know, this battle is going to come out, because it's going to come down to Warp Prism harass, medevac drops. Look, we already have MVP going in. In fact, both players are going to be dropping each other at the same exact time here. Now, this Immortal is a little bit ahead of itself. It could actually get stuck by the conch shells, and the Marauders go forward, but with the reinforcements arriving from MC, he will push away this drop. MVP, though, you know, elevates everything out of the way. He won't lose anything, but he does have to be careful about this Warp Prism that's now inside his main. In fact, he's totally oblivious to the fact there's a Zealot inside his mineral line, or that it will be inside his mineral line in about 1 second, and there it is. So, but, oh man, MVP already there with a Marauder. Only one, though, and 2 more Zealots warping in. So now MVP will have to decide, does he pull back? No, he will not. He drops everything off. But there's a Guardian Shield already here, and with 2 Immortals, I do not see this army doing any damage at all. He has to pull away. Meanwhile, SCV's forced to fight, and that is never a good situation. MC doing a massive amount of damage. In fact, the damage that MVP was trying to inflict on MC and never exactly happened. So MC with a much more finesse, much more elegant way of doing damage right there, rather than the raw brunt force of 2 medevacs. Just, you know, flies in a little crafty Warp Prism and warps in 1 or 2 or 3 Zealots, but never really committing to that little harass, and he did a lot more damage. 10 SCVs killed. MVP actually has a floating burning factory here just for spotting purposes, kind of random. It will go down, though. He does not have any SCVs for repair. In fact, the SCV is just coming. In fact, this is just an all-in from MVP at this moment in time. MVP knows he's so far behind. He actually got an expansion, which at this point doesn't make any sense to me. If he was going to all-in, why expand? But he lost 10 SCVs. He might as well just go for it. Will he be able to do it? It doesn't look like it. These 3 Immortals, the new shining star for Protoss players ever since their buff. And Protoss players have been using them so much, really the platform for MC's victory here against MVP, and that was a really good game. Both players just kind of harassing each other, but MC, like I said before, coming out with a little bit better of a build and taking down the W in this first game of a best of 3. Now, guys, before you guys all close this video, because I know most of you guys do, and then go on to the next one, I just wanted to say, in the next video, I will be giving away, I won't be giving away actually, because I don't have any extra ones, but Gamecom Plantronics will be giving away some headsets, and as you guys all know, I've been doing this bi-weekly. So in my next video, Game 2 of MC versus MVP, listen very closely for the details as to how you guys can win 3 headsets. They're going to be giving away 3 headsets. And the way you guys win it is going to be a little bit different. They won't be doing it on their Facebook. They'll be doing it on their main website. So just stay tuned. I'll mention it in the beginning of the video, and I'll see you guys in the next cast. HD, signing out.